Continuing to feel the breath coming in and out through your heart or through as much of your energy body as you can. And also sensing any aromas that may be lingering in the room or flavors of something you might have eaten recently. Experiencing all of these sensual inputs, but without label or judgment, without conceptualization, just in their suchness. And now allow the boundaries between inside and outside to dissolve. So that your breath, your energy body, and all of your sensations just merge into one total experience. No inside, no outside. Just what is right here, right now, in full acceptance. And now as we launch into our Dharma talk, see if you can keep some of your attention on the breath, on the feeling of your inner body, on the other sensations that might be occurring, the other experiences, becoming more expansive, becoming more inclusive as opposed to exclusive. All right, so once again, I want to apologize profusely for not showing up on Monday. The topic of my talk today is not, as you may have read on the notices, a day of hell, but rather a day from hell. How many of you have had what could be called a day from hell, a day where nothing seems to go right? And the frustration level, the exasperation level, the annoyance level just seem to keep going up and up and up until you're in an absolutely horrible mood. Well, that's the kind of day that I experienced on Monday, and that is the reason why I did not, or was not able to show up for the Dharma talk that I was scheduled to give. Now, I don't want to make it sound like I had this absolutely terrible, horrible day. You know, nothing really bad, nothing tragic happened at all, but it was a day that I had planned to take care of certain tasks, and I had allotted the amount of time to do those tasks. And when I started, nothing went as planned. I was supposed to log on to a network at our business office, and I couldn't log on, and it took me a long time. It wound up, I had to redo all of the security settings because I guess they had been reset since the last time I was there. I tried to use the network printer and it wouldn't work, and I had to reinstall the printer stuff, and it just took an hour and a half to do a task that should have taken maybe 20 minutes. And so I was late going on to the next part, and when I got on the highway going to the store that I wanted to go to, turns out that 2 lanes were blocked on the interstate, and it took 3 times as long to get there as it normally would have. So all in all, and then there were another few minor annoyances that were going on, and I realized that I was not going to get back in time for the Dharma talk, and so that put me in an even worse mood. So you're sitting there and thinking, geez, you know, Dokwang is a Dharma teacher. He's been practicing meditation for how many years? And even he has a bad day. Well, yes, even Dokwang can have a bad day. And the thing that was important about having this day, though, was that it highlighted something, the advice that I give in many of my Dharma talks, the importance of doing shadow work and working on the emotional blockages that we have as part of an integral spiritual practice. Because as I was going through that day and my frustration level was going up, I would be aware of what was happening. And so I immediately would do one of the techniques, like this breathing technique that we just did at the beginning, the ABC technique, starting to breathe. And I also did EFT. I would be tapping on all my acupuncture points. And each time the frustration level mounted, I would be able to get it down to a manageable level. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'd go on to the next task, and the next task would be problematic also, and so I'd have to do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. But that's the way things go a lot of times. And when things don't go right, and for me, you know, even when small things go right, I happen to be somewhat of a perfectionist. And, you know, as a young man or a young boy in school, was very much a perfectionist and an achiever, and I never liked when things would go wrong, because I wanted to be in control and I wanted to get good marks, etc., etc. So even now, as my day from hell demonstrated, there are still elements of that perfectionism and that need to be in control, that need for things to go right. And that happens a lot in the course of people's spiritual practice. Now, a lot of people decide to engage in some kind of spiritual practice, and they will practice meditation, and then they will arrange their lives to encourage that practice, but also to reduce the stresses that come from the outside world. And then they'll meditate for a while, and they'll find, oh, you know, I've made a lot of practice. I'm much calmer in my daily life. But then something happens, some crisis or just some minor annoyance happens, and they go right back into their old ways of responding. Or they talk with somebody who they have a problematic relationship with, and they go right back into that same way of responding. You know, that frustration, annoyance, exasperation, anger, etc. And what that means, you know, there's good news and bad